Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at Dragoncraft, and this is probably the new aggro-y ramp dragon decks, I guess is what you'd call it. We'll start off by saying everyone seems to be running different top ends for this deck in particular, so once you pass kind of the 5 mark, whatever you want to run in the high end is kind of up to you and what you find effective. Personally, I've been finding a couple of Zeus, Bahamuts and Polymorphic Roars, or whatever, you know. Finding those quite good at the moment. The Roars are a little weird, and I might slot something else in, but at the moment I am quite happy with them, especially in mirror matches. They allow me to outvalue a lot of other dragon cards as I come out, as long as they don't get completely cleared anyway. The main thing making this deck quite strong being the Prime Dragon Keeper. It's pretty much unbeatable when it comes to board presence. I mean, you can clear it with spells and Bahamut, that's about it. You know, overflow active, you're dealing 2 damage to random enemy, 1 to face, continually over and over again, being a 3-drop and not playing it till turn 7. Usually you can combo it with anything else in your low end, which works out nicely because this is only from 3 play points or less, so everything like that works. I am only running 1 Star Phoenix. I would prefer to run 2, I just don't currently have 2 and haven't been bothered to make another one yet. Which probably leads me to drop 1 Polymorphic Roar or something just to put in that Star Phoenix. So other than that, this deck has been absolutely crazy. I haven't lost a game with it so far in the last 6 games, I think, that I started playing it, and I've had a nice little bit of variation. I've had mirror matches, I've had forest, sword, all that sort of jazz. I haven't come up against a rune yet, but I am interested to see because this is more aggro orientated. D-Shift probably won't have a lot to say against it, but other than that, we'll get right into some games here, and hopefully you enjoy it. Alright, so the first match is forest. Some of these matches are close, some of them pretty much completely board wiped. It just depends on what kind of hands you get in the beginning. If you do completely brick, or if you're bricking halfway through, then you can be in a little bit of trouble. I've found that sometimes I just don't draw what I need as I need it, and other times I draw exactly what I need. So it's very, very awkward in that sense, but consistent enough that you always have something that you can play. You're never completely out of options in a lot of cases. I would say 90% of the time you're going to have a card that will help you less than it will hurt you.
Let's play.
So this hand, not that great, no ramp. That was the only problem I had with this forest match. If I had some decent ramp other than, you know, a 5 drops, I probably would have done a lot better. It also doesn't help that Dragon Summoner pulled itself, so that's not too great. Other than that though, I wasn't too concerned. I mean, fairies, not a big issue. You can heal up with Sybil once you do make turn 5. And other than that, it's just survival. So your early game, you do want to draw into your ramp as much as you can, or into those Dragon Summoners. I find they're a nice 2-drop to have. Breath of the Salamander is also quite good. And sometimes keeping Sybil just depends on the matchup. And of course, Dragon Keeper being the pretty much core of this deck, really pressuring everyone. I mean, 1 to face and 2 to a follower is crazy value. Especially when that thing can't be attacked and you're just playing stuff out.
Hey, let's play.
So you guys don't have too much that's crazy here.
You're done for.
I mean, Beetle Warrior is a little bit of a pain, but nothing you probably can't deal with.
You can get this one.
It does suck that I took so much damage though. Fortunately, you know, 2-1 deals with the Beetle Warrior nicely. Sybil's also a heal, so that works, and with the Evolve I can pretty much clear the board, leaving them with very little in their hand. I mean, they would need some insane Law Roach just to get lethal on me. They'd need probably a 1-drop, and then double Roach, and even then, they'll only just pull off lethal, I think. Or maybe a little bit more than lethal. That would require all their cards to be optimal, so the odds of that are pretty small, especially when Elf was in their hand, so one of the cards were going to be useless.
You follow behind.
Sybil though, ultimate value.
The darkness, the flame.
And then we can just Keeper. Unfortunately, Keeper's not too great when they're playing Elfchild, and I assume that's why Forest is running that right now. Because Elfchild is just fucking crazy. at blocking this. I mean, what am I meant to do with it? All I can use it is a beat stick and just ram. I probably should have killed D2-1 honestly, but
Sorry.
I didn't end up caring too much, and I just decided to push my board presence. I got enough cards in hand, got some draw power.
Hey, let's play.
Like I said, I'm enjoying this deck. It's going to be pretty cancerous and probably extremely strong, I would say. So if you are worried about crafting something, Dragon Keeper is definitely one worth the craft. And if they do hit a nerf button on Dragon, it's probably going to be Dragon Keeper. Whether they just make it deal 2 to the followers and not 1 to face, or change it some other way, I'm not really sure, but that I could see being the card that gets hit. So worst case, you'll get your vials back, I would assume.
I'm beat. Ow!
So getting some good trades. I would have liked it more if I had something to deal with these 1/1s more effectively. But with Zeus next turn, with a little bit of healing, putting us out of range of anything too dangerous, this deck just does a really good job of that. And like I said, you can run different top ends based on situation. I'm sure I'll be messing around with my top end in this deck quite often, just depending on what I'm seeing the most of. And I'm sure you guys will probably be doing the same.
I'm here, everyone.
But at the moment I found quite comfortable with this. Except for that 1 star, I'd probably run a second one of those. Because it is a good card.
I am the Father, the God of all.
Oh, come
Great lethal.
on. Lost.
Great reason to run Zeus. So next up, Dragoncraft. I mean, mirror matches aren't going to be that uncommon. People will be running this deck, it's going to be popular. I'm not sure what could really counter it at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see if anything does pop up. This hand isn't so bad because I did get the Dragonite and the Dragon Summoner, meaning I got a 2 and 3 follow-up, along with the fact that Dragonite is a ramp. The Raw, not so good. I mean, that's why I'm thinking of maybe dropping back to 1 Raw and just using it as a situational card, which I think is the better way to play that. But they don't really do much else. They didn't really play what I thought they were going to play. I was, you know, I didn't expect that of all cards, and I didn't expect Dragon to really need to pull a lot of followers to their hand. I suppose they were setting up for a later game, but can't be 100% on that. Unfortunately for me, I've only got the 1 ramp card and very minimal draw power. So I've just got to keep dealing with them as best I can. Lucky I can just swarm the board. It does require killing some stuff, but that's not a big issue.
It's mealtime.
And then next turn we got some more ramp with the Draconic, along with the fact that it heals and draws if we don't draw anything else to go along with it. I mean, we've only got to make it to 7, and then Prime Dragon Keeper becomes absolutely insane, especially in a mirror-ish match. Like I said, there will be differences between what people find optimal. I've just found this to be quite good.
You're adorable. You follow behind.
So Draconic, why not? Draw, heal, ramp. I can pretty much go to my next turn without any trouble, which means that Prime Dragon actually becomes useful. Since we also have the other dragon card that gives us the Fire Lizards, we can actually proc Prime twice if we need it.
It's mealtime.
And of course we have a lot of other late game cards in our hand already, the Bahamut, the Polymorphic Roar, all those sort of things.
Like a god omniscient.
It's mealtime.
Care to touch? You're sure
Pretty sucky. I would have liked to have hit 2-2 honestly. So that's why I decided to use Blazing instead of Fire Lizard there. I mean, Blazing, may as well use it. Fire Lizard I can just save. Does suck though, I should have probably went for the Evolve, assuming that they were going to use Breath, because losing that is not that fun. Although a clear board for a free Polymorphic Roar is pretty good, especially when they're only on 7, meaning they can't Bahamut it.
Wings are unbreakable.
And we have plenty of cards to deal with that 5-1. Whether we go Blazing and Fire, whether we just go into Breath of the Salamander, there's just plenty of options to deal with this. So as long as we can keep ourselves out of range, I'm pretty good. which is where Civil kind of comes in, keeping us out of that Yerd Dragoon range, which I know a few decks are running that as their top end, so they can go for lethals on turn 10. Obviously, they're not going to go on turn 10 here, but it's a risk that I wanted to make sure I was well out of range of. Especially since I've got double Bahamut, means I can get some decent clears even if they clear. I mean, if they played Bahamut on turn 10, then I play Bahamut, and then they play it, and then I play it, the odds are that I'm probably going to win that.
Care to touch?
And since Raw's going to constantly summon a 5/5, there isn't too much they can really do. And now they've pretty much screwed themselves because they don't have enough cards to actually clear everything.
Care to touch?
You have
I mean, they can get rid of pretty much everything, but that 1/2 and the fact that I'm going to have a 7/7 if I need it is absolutely crazy. It'll only take Drawing Storm and I would win, honestly.
My dance quenches the earth.
Although I do decide to take the heal, even though I probably should have taken the draw first, because that draw, even though it was Zeus, still I could have drawn into anything else.
Fear the dragon's power!
But plenty of good healing, solid board, not easily clearable even with Priest. Sorry, Prime. Dragoon Scyther though. Such a good card, Dragoon Scyther. I think it's always been a good card. Hitting that 2 damage in Storm or just using it as a beat stick is just great. And as you'll see in the next game, it really does come in clutch when you need it.
I admit defeat.
Realizing they'd die. The final game is against Sword, another reasonably popular deck because it picks off any unrefined decks pretty quickly.
You must die.
This game was, I would say, extremely close in the sense that I really needed to draw what I needed on the turns I drew them. But we start off with probably the optimal hand. Blazing Breath, Ivory, and Dragon Oracle. All good cards. I do decide that Ivory Dragon is important on this turn 1, and because Sword has options on turn 1 to absolutely decimate me, and I didn't really want to be dealing with that.
The legend begins!
Plus turn 2 there's nothing, I'm just playing Dragon Oracle. So then turn 3 I could easily just play Breath and Dragon. You know, nothing too concerning.
I lost!
Another Oracle, getting more ramp. We have plenty of cards off this, luckily.
The battlefield awaits.
I do wish I had something in the 5-drop range though. Having nothing there makes this a little more difficult. Luckily Zeus actually gives me an out of sorts because it means I'm going to reach that pretty quickly.
It's mealtime.
And I didn't really want to use these Fire Lizards like this, but making sure Sword doesn't deal too much damage is really important in these matchups. You want to make sure Sword doesn't absolutely dominate the board.
My love is a treacherous red.
Especially when things like Princess Juliet exist that just absolutely kill everything.
You're sure a handful.
Luckily though, Fire Lizard and Dragon Oracle actually getting a draw this time. Save my evolves, hoping to use them later. Didn't see the point on using it this early.
Let's speed things up.
Quick Blader, Princess Vanguard. You can tell they're really pushing for damage.
You are done for.
But we're getting closer and closer to Zeus, so once that comes out, there isn't much Sword can do unless they end up with some hard removal. Now, I do decide to go with Star Phoenix here. Use it as a trade, even though there was absolutely no real need to.
Avenge me, comrade!
I just felt like doing it. It didn't really make zero difference to my state, other than I probably could have had. I would have had a Star Phoenix on board. I think that's the only difference it would have left me with, but I probably wouldn't have wanted it on board anyway.
A little blood won't stop me.
Albert, been absolute pain. Luckily I can pretty much ignore it when Zeus comes down. I mean, if they have hard removal, they're pretty much going to win anyway, so I need to rush face so I can get the damage in. If they don't have hard removal and they can't get rid of Zeus and it sticks around for a turn, then they're pretty much lost anyway. So either situation, face was going to be the best place for Zeus.
me short.
And luckily they didn't really have anything, so they skipped their pretty much the whole turn. And Dragon Scyther, like I said, coming in clutch with that Storm,
It won't be long now.
gives me an exact lethal.
Cowards! Weaklings!
I should have foreseen this.
And so that wraps up my coverage of the new Dragon decks. It's pretty damn crazy. I actually find it a lot more enjoyable than some of the old Dragon decks, like standard Ramp Dragon was nowhere near as fun as having Prime Dragon Keeper is, and Star Phoenix. They're great cards. Like I said, running a second one's probably going to be better, and dropping one raw, I think that's where I'm going to go with this stack. So I'll leave the deck list in the description below, so you guys can check this out, have some fun. I found it very consistent so far, so hopefully you guys have some luck as well. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.